earlier we talked about police races or brutality kind of thing, right? If the most of the violent crime and crime in general were not done by the blacks, would the cops have to stop them when they see them in the car because they don't know who is, since the black crime is out of control, they don't know the good black from the bad black. If the blacks were not overwhelmingly committing the violent crimes and breaking in stores and selling drugs and doing those things, would the cop have to stop the blacks?
Well, number one, that data that you're referring to is debatable at best.
It's not. It's true, man.
So, for example.
But answer my question, though. Would they have to stop the blacks if majority of blacks were to self-govern themselves?
I will answer your question. I'll answer all questions. But I want to begin by saying that you're talking about as a raw number, or are you talking about per capita? Right? Like when you're talking about these stats, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about what's actually happening.
If you're talking about as a raw number, white people commit more violent crimes.
I'm talking about, no, that's not true.
Wait.
Wait, that's Jesse, absolutely not true.
Jesse, you said you're going to let me finish. We weren't going to. Let's not do the talking over each other thing.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Go ahead.
Let's be better than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've done it to you a couple times also, and I should not have done that.
Yeah, I accept.
We should let each other finish.
Go ahead.
If you're talking about per capita, murder in particular is disproportionately committed by black people. We're talking about per capita. But if you're looking at black people overall versus what percentage of them have committed a murder, you're talking about a tiny, tiny percent. So should police be able to strip 99.9% of black people of their rights because 0.1% of black people have committed a murder? Absolutely not. Absolutely, positively not. And then the other thing I want to mention on this topic briefly is that Aristotle rather famously said that poverty is the mother of crime. And America has done a hell of a job of making black people poor and keeping them poor, and we still do. And so, yeah, you are going to see a variety of issues in black neighborhoods, but the root cause of that is poverty, not blackness. And the reason I know that is that when you look at non-affluent white and Latino areas, you do see similar crime numbers. So that's my view on that.
Well, a couple of things. For the number of blacks that's in this country, they are beating out everyone as far as violent crimes and things like that. That's for sure. That is a reality. Number two is that the blacks are not, I forgot what you said. What was the second thing you said?
Well, we were talking about how poverty is the mother of crime.
Oh, poverty. Blacks are not in poverty due to the lack of things. They're in, and not all blacks, not all, but most. They're in poverty due to the lack of character. They're angry. They have fear. Their hearts are wicked. And that's why they're in poverty, not because of they can't have it or don't have it. It's just that they lack character. I want to ask if the blacks had fathers and mothers in the home together, raising their children in the right way to go, would the blacks be in the situation when it comes to crime and blaming others and having to lower the SAT score and beg for affirmative action and reparation? Would they be in that condition had they been raised by both father and mother?
Well, I wish I had a legal pad here because you just put about 20 issues out there to address. And
but no, the primary one is would they be in a better situation if they had two parents?
But let me first, on the poverty thing, it's important to realize, and I will answer your question, I promise. I'm not a ducker. It's not what I do. It's not why I came here. And plus, you're pretty well known for not tolerating duckers. You don't let them get away with that stuff. So even if I were so inclined, I would know better, okay?
Nice.
But on the poverty thing, in 2011, Bank of America got fined $335 million for black borrowers. We're talking about equally qualified, the same numbers, the same everything, right? So that stuff still does happen. It's harder for a black person to get a loan in many, many cases. But that having been said, And that's a fact. You can Google that. You can fact
that is a fact. May I quickly respond to that, and then I'll let you finish the other point?
Google 335 million.
You know why?
Wait, hold on. Let me finish, and then we could go. We're kind of doing circular now. But to answer the question of two parents in the home, I think it's really, really important. And I'm not saying that single parent homes are better or ideal or anything along those lines. I will say this: the spike in the fabled out of wedlock birth rate in the Black community started happening in the early 1960s. Okay, now Black people were treated horribly in the 50s and the 40s, and we all recognize that.
Not me. I don't recognize that.
Well, virtually all people do.
Thank you.
And what we have to quit doing is imagining that causes come after effects, right? If the effect is disproportionate poverty, but the disproportionate poverty predated the spike in single parenthood, then how can single parenthood be responsible for something that was already in existence before the single parenthood spike occurred? And I want to mention one more thing on that topic that I think is really, really important. When you take race away and you look at poverty only, all different racial groups, when they're poverty stricken, they give birth out of wedlock disproportionately. And the point I'm making is, it isn't like middle class girls are spitting out babies and getting pulled into poverty. It's poverty stricken girls are having babies too young, regardless of race. And it's ill-advised. Like, we all know that you're way better off if you can graduate high school and get yourself a little stable before having kids. But it really, truly is. I've looked into this a lot. It really, truly is based on poverty.
Are you saying poverty meaning that? Are you saying poverty mean they don't have anything in the material things?
Yeah, poverty meaning financial poverty.
But if they don't have any material,
food insecurity, not necessarily knowing where rent's coming from. That's what I mean. I mean financial poverty.
So if they don't have financial stuff, why are they so fat?
Well, I don't know.
They lack food.
Well, I don't know that Black folks are disproportionately fat.
They're fat.
That hasn't been. I've spent a lot of time in Black neighborhoods.
They're fat.
That isn't what I've noticed.
I want to, because of time, though, I want to make this point about the bank loans. The reason that the banks don't like to loan Blacks money because the Blacks don't pay back.
Well, that's not what the stats say.
But that's because you listen to the Black politicians, and both Black and white, liberal politicians, and they're forcing these banks to give these Blacks money because it benefits them. It's not benefiting the Blacks. It's hurting the banks, and it's hurting the Blacks that don't pay back because they never learn to pay back. But the politicians and others, they get wealth from doing this, and they're telling you it's about race. I remember the last crash that we had in America. It was because the banks were giving out all those loans to the Blacks, forced by the Black politicians, the liberal white ones, and the Blacks didn't pay back those home loans, and the market crashed because they didn't pay back. So that's why they don't like loaning money to the Blacks, because most, not all, but most Black people don't pay back.
Well, can I say that the scapegoating of Black people for the financial crisis in 2007 is preposterous, because Black people don't have that level of financial might. How could Black people collapse the whole system? The truth is, everybody, businesses.
But we're talking about the Blacks.
Hold on. Let me finish. The truth is that rich people, businesses, and the number one culprit of taking on loans they couldn't repay in that era was the federal government. And we ran up deficits in that era out the ass, unsustainable, just like we've done recently.
Let me do this because of time.
And to say that, hold on, let me finish.
Yeah, real fast.
Let me finish. To blame a group of people that controls 1% of the economy for the collapse of the whole economy just simply doesn't make any sense.
It might not make sense, but it's true.
It's grossly unfair.
It's true, though. Let me ask. So you don't believe that if the Blacks had fathers and mothers in the home raising their children in the right way to go, that they would be in a better condition?
I believe that the number one problem that Black people continue facing is the structural crap that we've thrown up and continue throwing up. Now, as far as
So do you love them? You love the blacks?
I don't love any group. I don't know how you can love a group.
Do you love the blacks?
There are lots of individuals I love and lots of individuals I don't love.
But do you love the blacks?
I wouldn't say that because I don't know all black people. I don't know how in the world I could say that I love an entire group when I personally know at most, 0.1% of them. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Do you love the blacks?
No, I don't love any group.
How about the blacks?
You've already asked. I think I've answered that question pretty well.
No, you haven't answered it because you keep throwing in any group, this or that. I simply ask, do you love the blacks?
You love the whites?
Yes. So much, Peter.
Okay. If you will say you love the whites, then I will say I love the blacks.
But I mean it, and you don't.
Well, no, I think that loving an entire group of people is fundamentally unreasonable and preposterous.
But if you don't love all, you love none.
I don't think that's true at all.
No, it is. Are you a Christian?
Jesse, there are lots of cheeseburgers that I love and lots of cheeseburgers that are dry with that old crusty ketchup.
Right.
I mean, I can't say I love cheeseburgers.
Well, I didn't ask if you. I didn't ask you if you eat the blacks. I asked if you love the blacks.
Right, and I'm giving an analogy.
But that's not a good analogy. You're talking about food over human beings.
Well, I'm not going to say that I'm the world's foremost analogist.
That's for sure.
But I will say this. You had to throw in that little jab. That's for sure. There are lots of black people I love, and there are lots of black people I don't love. So I don't know how I'm supposed to answer that question.
Amazing.